Technology Minerals was established to address the circular economy in the battery metal sector. They explore for battery minerals and will recycle, I suspect they don't at the moment, they will recycle cobalt, lithium, nickel, and manganese from the batteries themselves. TechMin floated on AIM in November 2021, and management have been busy developing the business since then. A lead battery recycling plant in Tipton has just got environmental approval, and a 10% stake in the Idaho cobalt and copper licenses has just been sold for £900,000. TechMin chairman Robin Brundle joins us to discuss future growth plans. Welcome, Robin.
Thank you, Donald, and good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, fantastic. It's brilliant to have you, Robin.
Yeah, nice to be here, and thank you for the introduction. It was very succinct.
Very good. Now, over to you. Tell us more about the bright future for TechMin.
I'll do that with pleasure. Okay, so hopefully you can all see the share screen. So we'll move down to the first slide, if we may. So we're delighted to be a company that's trying to strip back the greenwash by doing some doing in the very popular battery metals sector, both by extraction as been described, and also by being early to market with recycling with a number of USPs. So I'd like to take you through our presentation, which really also very much supports the COP26 agenda, and many of the global corporations are looking at our processes in the recycling and also in the extractive sector. And through the presentation, you'll see that there's clear justification right now with the massive demand for the materials for lithium-ion batteries in particular, supporting the move in transportation to electric vehicles. So as has already been said, we've listed on the UK Stock Exchange in November to create the sustainable circular economy. We are split into what we've classed as our resource projects for the extractive and end-of-life battery reprocessing. And TM1 is our ticker as Technology Minerals. TM1 owns 49% of the Recyclus Group and has provided the seed capital. The resource projects are at this stage 6 battery metal projects across 3 continents, and they're ethical and are strategically located for a diverse portfolio. And we'll talk more about those in a moment. The Recyclus Group here in the UK has 2 key markets. One, as we've said, is the early advantage to lithium-ion recycling, and also industrializing and cleaning up a very long established lead acid battery recycling here in the UK. And we're doing this on an industrial scale. So companies such as Benchmark Materials have forecasting significant deficits in the battery materials from the mid-20s, when in actual fact they're already here. The recycling and the reason for our twin track approach is that our knowledge transfer partner in Warwick University is forecasting that by 2030, recycling in the nature in which we're doing it is likely to be able to meet around 22% of the requirements that the lithium-ion battery manufacturers will need. Now, clearly, the other 78% has to be extracted. It has to come from somewhere. And so the narrative for our company, which, 6 years ago, when there was not such a big push, was, let's stay green in one camp and not so green and extractive in the other. But frankly, the two now have to join, given these statistics, that if the transition to greener, cleaner electric transport is to happen at the pace that it's currently forecast at, then there has to be both working hand in hand. The mining assets, again, with all of them, typical junior mining model, where if you like a sausage machine, where we've been out and identified some really good assets. And of course, the approach that we have as a junior miner is to find mid-tier partners for each of our assets, and to move them up the value chain is our proposition. And you'll hear later that on each of our assets, we're in solid discussions. And as an RNS was announced last week and just referred to, we've sold a 10% stake in our American asset effectively. So this diagram captures the circular economy that our group is involved in. So all the way from the top right-hand side, from raw material extraction, shows the process through to even through to gigafactory or OEM automotive battery manufacturing. And of course, we want to capture that end of life battery so that we can actually put it through our processes. And the holy grail is then to recirculate those materials back into remanufacturing batteries. So that's the whole genesis of our creation. You'll hear more in a moment about how we've got early to market opportunity on that. So what's our journey been since November? The most recycling business models are predicated on, do you have front end supply? Do you have capability to process? And of course, do you have off takers? So what we've done here for the UK, and obviously we are looking at how to roll out our Europe, Asia and America programs, but there'll be more news on that in the following weeks and months to come. But in November, we announced a partnership with a company here in the UK called Slicker Recycling. This gives us a UK capability of collection of all 5 sciences, chemistries of lithium-ion batteries. So what does that mean in reality? Handheld devices such as phones, laptops, iPads, through to e-bicycle batteries, automotive, and even the heavy goods stuff like trains, for example, electric trains. We're able to accommodate all of those sciences through our process, which again gives us a fairly unique position. But Slicker are doing 25,000 collections around the UK with 94 vehicles, 13 depots, and they're acting as our logistics collector to bring the feedstock to our factory gate effectively. We've announced a partnership with Warwick University through WMG, who are world-class in their knowledge and delivering for the British government, delivering the programme of advancements for lithium-ion batteries. We've engaged with an engineering doctorate programme with them, which is a 4-year programme. And we have a veto over what can be taught at the university so that we don't give away, we can share knowledge, but we don't give away the critical parts to the students effectively. We've got the plant ready, as was described at Tipton. The plant is fully installed. It's ready waiting to go to produce the lead acid, industrialization of lead acids, which incidentally previously has seen human beings hand sawing and working in amounts of acid to reclaim the lead. But again, we're just waiting for the environmental agency final license to do that. We opened a laboratory at Wolverhampton, which for those of you with laboratories will know is no small investment either, to make sure that as the batches and samples go through the production facilities, that we're able to identify them to leverage the revenue of each of the batches effectively. Appointed some good heads to the group, including Matthew Taylor as the group managing director. And both RNSs in the last week has seen both Tipton and Wolverhampton now, Wolverhampton being the lithium ion plants, have actually received our EA permits, which are the cornerstones of getting all of the cascade of various licenses and operational licenses that then follow on from the permit itself. On the mining side, we've had some very good results from 27 rock samples in the South Dakota. We've acquired 100% in the cobalt copper Blackbird Creek property in Idaho. And again, the American assets that we have there, to our knowledge, that's the only area that has actually so strong in cobalt that it's actually mined for cobalt. So we're very pleased about that, and it's that you've heard that we've these American assets that we've sold the 10% stake in which we'll hear a bit more a bit later on. The Spanish work continues. All the sites are having this groundworks done and preparedness for drilling. But we've got some super results coming through, not complete yet, but as soon as they're complete, hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll be announcing some news around the Spanish finds. Again, the Imperium, as I just said, we've sold the 10% interest there. So just going back to the stock market, you'll see at the bottom, we've raised approximately £6 million from the IPO and pre-IPO fundraise. That's given us the capital to deliver all of the things that we've done so far. So just focusing now on the Recyclus Group. As I said a moment ago, do we have the capability for front end? And so, of course, the collection network here in the UK is a critical pathway, but as also is working with industry partners such as automotive OEMs and also gigafactories as well. So it was released this week that for the first time, the number of gigafactories around the world has now topped 300. In fact, there are going to be 304. And when we first started this program, we thought there were a bit dizzy heights of nearly 200 gigafactories around the world. So that bodes well for people like us that are extracting and also recycling. And so, of course, we then have the situation of the material resale. And because of the lithium ion recycling, we end up with something called a black mass, which has the 4 key salts in them that most of the major corporations around the world wants to get their hands on as a commodity. So we have a whole range of businesses that are offering us to take all of our black mass on an exclusive basis. And we're analysing which of those deals and whether indeed we want to do a multi-trade rather than having all eggs in one basket. So those discussions are ongoing right now. And obviously trading on the commodity markets and back directly to the industry once the materials are proven to be of suitable quality to go back into the front end. So again, another slide, which I won't go through every one of these, but you can see that where the main clients lie. And I will also just mention the licensing that you can see there. Because we need to roll out quickly, we believe we've got about a 2-year advantage with our plant and machinery before any competitors around the world catch up. And therefore we want to roll it out quickly. We don't have the resource either in capital or in management to hit global. So we are in advanced discussions with partners to look at Europe, Asia, and also the United States through licensing and joint venture activities. And again, there'll be more news on that as we go through the year. So the significance, as I said to you, about the grants from the EA is that it's a significant vote of confidence, obviously, that our company has been allocated the permits to be able to operate recycling or waste plants effectively. And very pleasingly that because the environmental agency have suffered dreadfully through headcount and also downtime with COVID, they are dreadfully behind on issuing these licenses and permits. But thankfully, given the nature of what we're doing for the green agenda, the EA have now given us a priority status because we're going to help maintain the UK national resilience, national infrastructure, and critical to the environmental protection. So we're particularly delighted about that because it does escalate the rest of the licenses that we need to become fully operational. So the key drivers for us, you can see, again, the stats are on the screen, so you can see that the growth both here in the UK and through Europe and globally is absolutely clear from all the statistics around the automotive and transport methods in general. The key metal shortages, again, it's no secret that China got the jump on the EV strategy and electric vehicle strategy. and they've actually bagged themselves around 80% of the global supply of the raw materials. So there is a scrabble now. We've even got, for the first time in my lifetime, automotive companies directly buying mines, when previously they would have wanted a third party or arm's length person to manage any potential brand risk. But the desire for material is such that they're having to go direct and become mining owners themselves, or mine owners themselves. And the recycling, we need to get cracking with this. The UK doesn't currently have any capability en masse in the way in which we're offering. We need to get recycling as quickly as we can, because sadly, even e-bikes and that sort of thing, these batteries are going straight into landfill, and they're pretty lethal things if you get them wrong. And we don't want them in the earth. We don't want them in incinerators. We want to be recycling them and reclaiming these materials. So again, I won't bore you with the statistics, but you can have a quick look at the screen on the market size across Europe. And again, we are focused on lead acid as we roll out the Recyclus program. A, because it's a long established marketplace. B, there's a huge opportunity here in the UK. And C, the less wealthy continents around the world will be much slower to transition to EV. And if you look at the outputs from 10 or 12 major battery manufacturers, for example, in Brazil, they are doing record numbers of batteries, lead acid batteries. And so there is opportunity around the globe for the lead acid, we believe, for many years to come. So just looking at our mining portfolios, you can see the spread here. Clearly, we're focused on ethical mining as a British company. You can see the Idaho in the USA and also South Dakota. The Ireland lithium project, again, we're expecting to come out with some news for that particular opportunity during the next few weeks as well. Northern Spain, we've touched on. And we have Cameroon, which again is a very big opportunity down in the Cameroon, with a large landmass that we've got there. And I think it's very important to say with the USA projects that Jevois, who are, we are bordering on two of their sides down strike, actually go live with their extraction towards the end of this year. And we believe that being down strike from them, that we're sitting in a very nice place there, and that's clearly part of the reasons for triggering somebody wanting to buy 10% of that opportunity. So the mining strategy, as we've said, I described it earlier as a little bit of the sausage machine, that we have guys on the ground that are looking for more opportunities to feed into the front end, so that we can actually develop a portfolio of in-house battery metal projects, which are all focused on lithium, rare earth, which often you find with lithium, copper, nickel, cobalt, and manganese as well. And of course, the rare earths at the moment, there's a big push for rare earth because of the demand for warfare, bombs, bits and pieces, guided missiles, and bulletproof vests, and so on. And of course, Biden's statement about 8 weeks ago now, suggesting that the USA has made mining of national importance now in the USA. We know that there are other discussions like these going on here in the UK, and also other countries around Europe and the rest of the world. And we believe that by the end of this year, several more countries will announce that extractive industries and mining for battery and rare earth materials will become popular again and will be given priority, and possibly even cornerstone invested as well. And again, partnerships, because our job is to find them, prove them, push them up the value curve. We look for partners to come in as joint ventures, and of course we continue to earn when those mines actually become extractive as well. And that's how we grow the shareholder value through the mining strategy. So again, you can see this was really the Imperium Blackbird, the sale, the information behind the sale of the 10%. But again, we can come back to detail if anybody wishes to, but it just gives you an indication, that we've got this sort of 14,000 acres of land sitting there that's rich in these minerals. So again, the next two slides, again, I won't go through in too much detail, but you can see that how we, these bar lines are indicating how we push each of these operations up the value curve before we bring in, say, a Rio Tinto or a Glencore, that type of company, to help then go and do the heavy lift on the mining. And again, there's the other three assets that you can see. And you can see that most of them are ready. If they haven't been drilled, they're ready for drilling. And they're all in slightly different states of readiness for that. But again, during the next 12 months, they'll all be proved up effectively. So the investment proposition, really, it's the UK's first listed company for creating a sustainable circular economy. As I said, it's our, we've delivered cutting through the greenwash. We are poised to be a key player in the supply and make sure that this security in the battery metals through the actions that we have in the mining. We are also clearly with the recycling side, with the USPs that we have with particularly with our lithium ion plants, gives us we believe a 2-year head start in the market. And the recovery that we're getting from the percentage recovery that we're getting of the materials from the full battery going in at the front end is in the high 99% category at the moment. And again, we're just waiting for the environmental agency permits to go live with those plants. So we're in a state of readiness. We're creating the circular economy. We believe that we're in the right place at the right time. And I would welcome any questions.
Perhaps we should kick off with the next steps for Tipton. And we can come to Wolverhampton. Now, I suppose it's exactly the same question for Wolverhampton. Have you got all your environmental permits? What's next?
Yeah, so what we've done, the direct answer is no. I hate people that skirt around an answer. So the direct answer is not yet, but we're very, very close. So what we have is that we have the permit for the site. We have our application in to be able to operate there. And we can operate, if we wish to do so, we can operate from Monday next week if we want people to hand saw, because the site was previously hand sawing. So we're trying desperately not to do that for all the right health and safety reasons. But if the environmental agency are going to take weeks and months, we may end up being able to start the process by actually recycling in that fashion. And then as soon as we've got the permit, we switch the full plant on, and then it becomes fully automated without human intervention.
Is the plant sitting there ready to go?
Yeah, it has been for months, yeah. We're fully staffed up. We're ready to go. We've passed our all of our ISO 9000. There's 3 key ISO stages that we've passed. But of course you can't get full certification for that until you're operational and measured operationally against your documented processes. So all the health and safety, all of the processes that we have in place have all been measured and passed their stages. And so it is literally just waiting for the green light to tip the to put the full plant.
Do you have any sense of whether it might be weeks or months?
Incredibly, it could actually pop up tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. It could be 3 months, and we're just trying to work with the environmental agency to to get to a point where we can make the decisions. If we haven't at Tipton heard anything really by Friday this week, we may well then start commencing to get the stores going and to make sure that we get some cash revenue receipts coming in through June.
Yes, you want to get some revenue streams going, don't you?
We do. We were originally hoping for a January start, to be frank, and we've been pushing to make sure that we're in this state of readiness and maintain it. which is no easy task because staff can get disillusioned if they're looking at each other half the day. But we've managed that, and if by Monday, then we will activate the storing, because if we have to then switch that off a week later, so be it.
Okay. And does Tipton work as a pathfinder plant for you, a test bed for the technology, a blueprint for the 9 other plants you plan to build?
For
is
us,
there a degree of truth in that?
So for us, the lead acid side is a cookie cutter. So the plant is pretty standard, recycling plant. It's used. I think there are about 12 of these plants around the world. So there's no rocket science behind it. It's just a question of getting it up, switching it on, and making sure that the productivity utilization actually ramps up as quickly as is practical to do so. And so, no, for us, there's no real major USP there at all.
And Wolverhampton with a lithium ion battery?
Very different, very, very different on that one. And we may be a little bit longer on Wolverhampton because we are cutting new territory. The USP that we have is that there are other people around the world that have started to recycle lithium ion by putting them into a salt water bath and crushing them to stop the explosion and the fire. But of course, they're adding a huge amount of moisture and they're losing the ability to extract the electrolyte. So our process is a dry process that enables us to crush the batteries in our special, that we have the IP license on both the process and the plant itself. And it's a dry environment that enables us to shred the batteries without causing fire or explosion. And it enables us then to extract the black mass, extract the electrolyte, the liquid, the small amount of liquid in the battery, but nonetheless, it can be recycled. And we believe it can be filtered to go back round to be reused in batteries again. And then we can then very easily have dry black mass that we can shred and separate the plastics and 1 or 2 other tiny elements in there to get to the 4 key the 4 key metals that are in the black mass powder. So a lot of USP in there for us. And another benefit is that if you imagine a hopper, if you like, at the front end, we can take any combination of the 5 chemistries of lithium ion. So it doesn't matter if it's a car battery along with an e-bike battery and a mobile phone battery that goes in the front end. Our device will and process will handle all 5 chemistry seamlessly and produce the black mass from the back end. So so we're very excited about that.
Let me stop you there and ask Lyle Hackett's question. What's the competition for recycling EV batteries and battery metals? Who's your competition in the UK, in the world? Tell us, because we don't know.
In the UK, on an industrial scale, there is none. So we're very much first to market. Around the world, probably the competitor would be Li-Cycle, an American company, who, again, as I said to you, are doing this wet process. Our process is modular, so we can fit nicely into a gigafactory. So, for example, we might need 6 of our modules in year 1 when they're not so efficient at production, but then we can give them back space, energy, and manpower by going down to 2 or 3 in year 2. The other system with Li-Cycle, for example, needs a hub and spoke, so it has to sit within Europe, and it has to be fed by all of the countries in Europe to give it enough feedstock to justify the several hundreds of millions of investment that they have, whereas one of our plants is sub 10 million.
Okay. I've got a nice last question for you from 2 different people, both ask the same one. Sean Wakefield and Pretam Basan. Where do you see the market cap in 4 or 5 years' time? Last question. I know it's a crystal ball one, isn't it?
Well, I have to be very cautious about making that sort of statement, I think, unfortunately, in my position, because it can influence share price. So
let's not talk share price. Then where do you see the business in 4 or 5 years' time?
Yes, well, in a full trading year, Recyclus, for example, will turn over for 2 plants. It will turn over around 14 to 16 million pounds. And it will have an EBITDA in the early 30s. and our strategy for the next 5 years is to roll out 2 new plants every year, ending with 10, possibly 12 plants in total, and you can extrapolate the numbers forward from that. And of course, what those numbers don't include is the upside from gigafactory involvement, from automotive OEM involvement, and also licensing and revenue streams from doing JVs around Asia, Europe, and America.
Crikey. I have to say, we're going to have to stop you there, but I don't particularly want to. That was fantastic. Thank you so much, Robin. Robin Brundle, Chairman at TechMin, Technology Minerals. What an interesting business. I want to hear that all over again. Thank you so much.
Thanks for your time.